Oh no, it's turning.
So, that really was the end, huh? It's been about a year since the conclusion of Cartoon Network's The Amazing World of Gumball, a hit animated series that ran for 6 glorious seasons. One of the few animated properties in the last decade that really stand out as universally beloved. Yes, we had our Steven Universe, our Gravity Falls, our Voltrons, our She-Ras. Monumental shows with incredible stories, but the difference with Gumball, although it did not really make any strides in representation or storytelling, it honestly hit close to SpongeBob levels of casual awareness. From the moment Gumball premiered, I knew kids my age, which I was in middle school going into high school, so the general age range of tweens and teens, alongside older teenagers and even adults who watch the show, something that hasn't really changed nowadays. Not saying this is an everyday occurrence, but it isn't uncommon for me to be scrolling through social media and see a random classmate from high school have Gumball on their story, someone who definitely does not watch cartoons in any capacity. Well, except for the big funny haha shows. Rick and Morty, Family Guy, SpongeBob, and, you guessed it, Gumball. And I think it is because of all the pop culture references and social commentary Gumball implemented throughout its run that allowed it to become a face of modern animation, even if not every animation fan thinks about it all too much. And I mention all of this because you would imagine such an animated series would have a more elaborate and celebrated finale. A conclusion to leave fans satisfied, and also floor the general audience with, whoa, this show has an actual ending? But here we are now a year later, with a super anticlimactic cliffhanger ending that even the creator himself was like, yo, yeah, I did not want this, and no concrete news or updates at the possibility of a Gumball movie. Something that the creator previously teased an idea for, and after the finale wrapped up, made sure to emphasize that if the movie is made, the series as a whole would be able to wrap up quite nicely. So, what happened? Well, at the tail end of this year, Gumball returned for a new special, but only sorta kinda not really at all. They advertised a week-long event called Darwin's Yearbook, which was nothing more than a clip show, packaged with recycled footage, and I believe new voiceover for Darwin. But yeah, it was nothing more than 5 clip show episodes. Why? What was the point? Why so long after the conclusion of the series? Back then, in a pre-corona world, I was naive enough to suspect these yearbook episodes as a cover-up. That really, this was a stunt, and that it would be totally in Gumball style to advertise clip show episodes only for it to be a 5-part finale, that instead of a Gumball movie, it has 5 or 6 special episodes to wrap everything up. Well, guess what? I am an idiot. I could claim I was finessed by Cartoon Network, but no, I was finessed by my own mind. I only have myself to blame. But that doesn't subtract from the fact that these episodes still came out of nowhere and, quite frankly, never needed to exist. It still leads me to question the intent of these specials. The most obvious and likely answer is that these specials just kind of serve to keep fan interest and the franchise alive without doing much of anything. Kind of giving any Gumball diehards false hope that maybe something is coming, that's why they want to keep it fresh in the audience's minds. But I gotta be honest, I think if there was going to be a Gumball TV movie, it would have been announced by now. Granted, San Diego Comic-Con is right around the corner. Maybe Cartoon Network will throw us a curveball, but I'm not getting my hopes up. Instead, I want to explore the possibility as to why there wasn't a Gumball movie. It's a huge franchise, and if the network is going to go as far as to give us clip show episodes, why wouldn't they want to give us a movie? Well, I believe 2 things can kind of piece together a somewhat satisfying but speculative answer. After all, I'm not in the industry, I do not know how the mind of professional creatives and executives work, nor the business they conduct. If an instance of the business they conduct comes to light, that can recontextualize a different situation. As you guys may remember, the reason why Gumball wrapped up in the first place was because the creator just felt as if it was time to wrap up and move on. The ball wasn't Cartoon Network's court if they wanted to continue the series, but I think when you look at entertainment as a whole, some past experiences and reception to various projects, who did switch out a showrunner or director at some point during production, probably scared the executives to want to try such a thing, especially since Gumball has a very distinct voice and arguably method of comedy. Yet, despite not wanting to do another season, the creator was vocal about doing a movie, giving us just a little bit more time in the world of Elmore, but in a way that leaves viewers content. However, would such a move make sense for Cartoon Network? If you ask me, I believe the answer would have been no. And that brings me to my second point, Steven Universe. Or more so, what Steven Universe the movie revealed about Cartoon Network. To make an extremely long story short, Rebecca Sugar was given a strong indication during the production of Steven Universe Season 5 that this would be the final season of the show. So in order to ensure the show had a proper ending, she fought for 6 additional episodes to wrap up the original series, which became the Diamond Days event. However, she became adamant on pitching a Steven Universe movie, and I think the results say a lot. Not just about Cartoon Network present, but Cartoon Network past. To quote a Polygon interview, oddly enough, Cartoon Network approved the idea of a movie, but then wanted the show to continue afterwards. I was told that there was no point to a movie unless it existed to promote more show. So, all of a sudden, I had 20 additional episodes to work on while working on the movie. I was overjoyed and tried to conceptualize a way to put the pieces of the story we intended to include in the original run into these additional episodes. But everything had to be different after the events of the movie, so I needed to approach these stories from a new angle. The key thing there that we can apply to Gumball was that the network was not comfortable with the idea of a television movie if it didn't exist to promote more of the series that it was based off of. And when looking at former Cartoon Network original series and the television movies that accompanied alongside them, yeah, that kinda checks out. Aside from what Dexter's Laboratory Ego Trip was originally intended to be, most of the Cartoon Network television movies weren't series finales and definitely had episodes to follow. And then when the time came for an actual series finale, instead of doing a television movie, which you think would actually make sense, they instead typically concluded on a special length episode. For example, Foster's Home, Destination Imagination. That easily could have been the series finale, but no. The finale was just a regular 22-minute episode, because at that point, there wouldn't have been any more show. Billy and Mandy's Big Boogie Adventure wasn't the end, but felt like one. Kids Next Door, Operation Zero. If any show at the time was going to have a TV movie for the finale, it would have been Kids Next Door. Instead, it ended with an hour-long special, an exception in the situation being Edda and Eddie's Big Picture Show, which served as a series finale and promoted nothing afterwards. However, we can even figure out a conclusion for that. As far as I'm aware, when it came down to producing a 6th season or a movie, Danny Antonucci and his team went for a movie. But strangely enough, we did get a 6th season of Edda and Eddie. It just only consisted of 2 episodes. God, what's with Cartoon Network shows and having a weird story behind their 6th season? But I imagine Cartoon Network could have already gave the greenlit for the 6th season. Maybe they already began production, but very early on they decided to use that season order and having the resources for the rest of those episodes go towards a movie, allowing it to be one of the longest Cartoon Network movies and serving as the best looking Edda and Eddie special by far. Even more recent examples like the movies for Regular Show and We Bare Bears. While Regular Show would conclude on an hour-long special, its movie wasn't necessarily close to the end of the series. And with We Bare Bears, although it does serve as the series finale to the original series, it does technically promote the upcoming We Baby Bear spin-off, much like how Steven Universe the movie technically promotes Steven Universe Future. So if this holds weight, I understand why Gumball didn't get greenlit for a movie. A television movie is a business decision. What better decision than to promote more business? But the creator doesn't want any more business, which is also understandable, which leaves the franchise as a whole in a weird spot. Will there ever be more? Well, even unlike most of last year, arguably, there could be a better fighting chance to just have a Gumball movie and nothing else through HBO Max, which, thanks to the pandemic, the industry is hungry for more animation. It's one of the only forms of entertainment that's been able to continue production throughout all of this more or less smoothly. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Come a little closer. The HBO Max originals that were made by Cartoon Network Studios right now probably wasn't made for the streaming service, considering Tig and Seek and the Fungies were greenlit and announced for Cartoon Network, and now are premiering exclusively on Max. Distant Lands probably was not intended to be on HBO Max, although it just makes so much sense on there. So honestly, I could be a big stinking liar with that one. Still, on the hunt for original content, and not necessarily needing to commit to a full-on season, I do hope the Gumball movie is pitched to HBO Max, and if it already has, I hope it wasn't rejected. But at the same time, I imagine both the executives and the creator can only bargain for so long before both sides just want to move on. But there you have it, my crackpot theory on why there isn't a Gumball movie, and a smaller case for why there should be. Is this the video equivalent of, I hope you enjoyed reading my essay? Probably. But nevertheless, drop your thoughts in the comments below or tweet your thoughts at Roundtable Vids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at OstricVox. We're also on Instagram. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. OstricVox, signing out.